Ryder gripped the steering wheel tighter, his knuckles turning white against the worn leather. The Chicago skyline faded in the rearview mirror, replaced by the endless stretch of Interstate 90 heading west. His father, Edward, sat in the passenger seat, arms crossed, staring out at the passing cornfields with a mix of resentment and resignation. At 72, Edward had always been a stoic man, a Vietnam vet who built his life in the Windy City as a mechanic, raising Ryder after his wife passed from cancer a decade ago. But now, with his arthritis flaring and his steps slowing, he felt like a burden. And Ryder's sudden insistence on this trip felt like the final nail in the coffin of their strained relationship. "Dad, it's not what you think," Ryder said, breaking the silence that had hung between them for the first hour. His voice was steady, but inside, a whirlwind of emotions churned. Ryder was 35, a successful architect in downtown Chicago, with a life that looked perfect on paper. A sleek loft in Wrigleyville, a circle of friends who threw rooftop parties, and a career designing eco-friendly high-rises. But beneath it all was a secret he'd buried deep: his sexuality, and the man who had captured his heart 3 years ago, Jordan. Edward grunted, not turning his head. "Save it, son. I know when I'm being put out to pasture. That nursing home brochure you left on the kitchen table wasn't exactly subtle." Ryder's stomach twisted. He hadn't meant for his dad to find that. It was a decoy, part of the elaborate plan to surprise him. But how could he explain without spoiling everything? The truth was, this wasn't a one-way ticket to assisted living. It was a drive to Montana, to a secluded ranch where Jordan waited, where Ryder planned to propose in front of the Rocky Mountains, and where he hoped to finally come clean about who he really was. As the miles ticked by, Ryder's mind drifted back to how it all started. He'd met Jordan at a charity gala for LGBTQ+ youth in Chicago, an event Ryder attended under the guise of professional networking. Jordan was everything Ryder wasn't: outgoing, with a laugh that lit up rooms, a teacher at a local high school who coached soccer on weekends. Their first date was at a dive bar in Lincoln Park, sharing greasy burgers and stories about growing up in the Midwest. Jordan came from a supportive family in Wisconsin, openly gay since college. Ryder, on the other hand, had hidden his truth since high school, terrified of disappointing Edward, the man who preached, "Tough it out," and never spoke of emotions. Their relationship blossomed in secret: stolen weekends at Jordan's apartment, hikes in Starved Rock State Park where they could hold hands away from prying eyes. But cracks formed when Ryder refused to introduce Jordan to his father. "I'm not some dirty secret, Jordan had said during one heated argument. "If you love me, prove it." That fight led to a brief separation 6 months ago, Jordan walking out, leaving Ryder heartbroken and alone. It was then that Ryder realized he couldn't lose him. He hatched the plan. A surprise getaway, not just for the proposal, but to bring Edward into the fold, hoping the old man would see the love and accept it. The sun dipped lower, casting golden hues over the plains as they crossed into Wisconsin. Edward finally spoke again, his voice softer, laced with pain. "You know, your mom would be ashamed. She always said family sticks together, no matter what." Ryder swallowed hard. His mother, Maria, had been the glue, a warm Italian-American woman who baked cannoli and hosted block parties. Her death had left a void, and Edward had withdrawn into himself, leaving Ryder to navigate adulthood alone. But Maria had known about Ryder's orientation. She'd caught him kissing a boy in high school and hugged him, whispering, "Love who you love, mio figlio." Edward never knew. They stopped at a roadside diner in Madison for dinner. Over burgers and fries, Edward reminisced about old times, teaching Ryder to fix cars in their garage, cheering at his little league games. Ryder listened, a lump in his throat. "Dad, I need you to trust me on this trip. It's important." Edward eyed him suspiciously. "Important how? You got a girl waiting or something? About time you settled down." Ryder forced a laugh, but inside, the irony stung. If only he knew. As night fell, they checked into a motel in Minneapolis. Ryder texted Jordan, "Halfway there. Dad thinks it's a nursing home drop-off. Miss you." Jordan's reply, "Can't wait to meet him. Love you." Ryder lay awake, staring at the ceiling. What if Edward rejected him? What if the surprise backfired? The thought of losing his father or Jordan again was unbearable. The next morning, They hit the road early, crossing into North Dakota. The landscape shifted to vast prairies, the air crisp with autumn chill. Edward's mood lightened slightly. He tuned the radio to classic rock, humming along to Springsteen. "Born to run," he said with a grin. "That's you, kid. Always running towards something bigger." Ryder smiled, but the words hit home. He was running from his truth. Mid-afternoon, tension built when Edward spotted a sign for a senior living community. "This it? Pulling over already?" Ryder shook his head. "No, Dad. Keep trusting." But doubt crept in. Jordan had arranged everything. The ranch in Montana was owned by a friend, a picturesque spot with cabins, horses, and mountain views, perfect for a romantic proposal. But Ryder hadn't told Jordan about the nursing home ruse. He wanted the reveal to be epic. As they approached Fargo, Ryder's phone buzzed with a call from his best friend, Mia. "Hey, everything set?" Jordan's freaking out a bit. Ryder stepped out for privacy. "Yeah, but Dad's pissed. Thinks I'm abandoning him." Mia sighed. "Just tell him, secrets eat you alive." She was right. Mia had been his confidant since college, the one who pushed him to date Jordan. Back in the car, Edward confronted him. "Who was that?" "Your mystery woman." Ryder hesitated, then decided on a half-truth. "Someone special, Dad. You'll meet soon." Edward's eyes narrowed. "Hope she's worth it, son. Family first." The day ended in Bismarck with Ryder wrestling inner demons. He dreamed of Jordan that night, their first kiss under Chicago's bean sculpture, the way Jordan's hand fit perfectly in his. Waking up, he vowed to make this right. Dawn broke over the North Dakota Badlands as Ryder and Edward continued west, the car's engine humming steadily toward Montana. Edward's suspicion had morphed into quiet anger. He barely spoke, fiddling with his wedding ring, a habit from lonelier days. Ryder felt the weight of unspoken words pressing down, like the gathering storm clouds on the horizon. He knew the climax was near, but the path there was fraught with memories that threatened to unravel everything. Flashbacks haunted Ryder as he drove. He remembered coming out to himself at 18, during a college party in Urbana where a frat boy named Chris had pulled him into a dark room. It was exhilarating and terrifying. But when he thought of telling Edward, the fear won. Edward, with his military background and blue-collar ethos, had once muttered about those types during a news segment on gay marriage. Ryder buried it deep, dating women sporadically to keep up appearances, until Jordan shattered the facade. Jordan, with his easy smile, curly blonde hair, and passion for social justice. Their reunion after the breakup had been intense. A rainy night in Chicago, Jordan showing up at Ryder's door with apologies and promises. "I can't live without you," he'd said, pulling Ryder into a kiss that reignited everything. They talked for hours, Ryder confessing his fears about Edward. Jordan suggested the trip. "Bring him to us. Show him our love." It seemed perfect, but now, with Edward stewing beside him, Ryder wondered if it was a mistake. They stopped for lunch in Dickinson, at a mom-and-pop cafe serving hearty steak sandwiches. Edward picked at his food. "You gonna tell me what's really going on? Or keep treating me like a fool?" Ryder met his gaze. "Dad, remember when Mom died? You said we'd always have each other. This trip is about that family." Edward softened slightly. "Then why the secrecy? Feels like betrayal." The word betrayal struck Ryder like a punch. It echoed a darker chapter. 2 years into dating Jordan, Ryder had panicked during a family holiday. Edward had asked about grandkids, and Ryder lied, saying he was seeing a woman named Sarah. Jordan found out and felt betrayed, leading to their split. "You're ashamed of me," Jordan accused. Rebuilding trust took months of therapy, where Ryder unpacked his internalized shame, roots in Edward's unspoken expectations. As they entered Montana, the Rockies loomed, majestic and unforgiving. Ryder's heart raced. The ranch was only hours away. He pulled over at a scenic overlook, the wind whipping through the pines. "Dad, I need to tell you something." Edward turned, his weathered face expectant. But Ryder chickened out. "Just, I love you." Edward nodded, but his eyes held doubt. The ranch appeared at dusk, a sprawling property with log cabins, a barn, and a lake reflecting the sunset. Jordan's car was parked out front, but Ryder had instructed him to stay hidden. Edward's face fell as they pulled up. This ain't no nursing home. What the hell, Ryder? Ryder killed the engine. Get out and see. Inside the main lodge, candles flickered, and soft jazz played. Jordan stepped out, handsome in a button-down, holding a bouquet. Mr. Thompson, I'm Jordan, Ryder's partner. Edward froze, the color draining from his face. Partner? What do you mean? Ryder took a breath. Dad, I'm gay. Jordan and I are in love. This trip was to surprise you with our engagement. The room spun for Edward. He sank into a chair, memories flooding back. In his youth, during the war, he'd felt stirrings for a fellow soldier, but suppressed them, marrying Maria to fit the American dream. He'd suspected Ryder years ago but stayed silent, fearing judgment. Now betrayal stung, not from Ryder's sexuality, but from the lies. You thought I'd hate you? Edward whispered, tears welling. Son, I love you no matter what, but the shock triggered anger. You lied to me, made me think you were dumping me in some home. Ryder knelt. I was scared of losing you. Jordan watched, heart aching. That night, over dinner by the fire, tensions boiled. Edward shared his own buried feelings. I never acted on it, but I understand. Jordan opened up about his coming out, offering empathy. But when Ryder proposed, down on one knee with a ring, Edward's joy mixed with pain. I'm happy for you, but this ruse, it hurt. The high point came during a midnight walk. Edward pulled Ryder aside. I forgive you, but promise no more secrets. Ryder hugged him, tears flowing. Yet, a twist loomed. Jordan confessed privately to Ryder about a recent flirtation with an ex during their split. It was nothing, but I should have told you. Ryder felt the sting of betrayal anew, his trust shaken. As they settled into cabins, Ryder confronted Jordan. How could you? Jordan begged forgiveness. It was a mistake. I was hurt. The argument echoed through the night, Kitch Tin peaking as Ryder stormed out, wandering the ranch trails. Edward found him, offering wisdom. Love ain't perfect, son. Forgiveness is what makes it real. By morning, Ryder and Jordan reconciled, their bond deeper. Edward witnessed their vulnerability, seeing echoes of his own regrets. The trip, meant as a surprise, became a catharsis. The Montana sun rose over the ranch, painting the mountains in hues of pink and gold. Ryder woke with Jordan's arm around him. The previous night's storm passed but leaving scars. Edward knocked on their cabin door, bearing coffee from the lodge. Morning, boys. Let's talk. The three sat on the porch, the air crisp with pine and possibility. This was the emotional core, where conflicts unraveled, revealing the human heart beneath. Edward sipped his coffee, his voice steady. Last night hit me hard. Not your love, Ryder, that's beautiful, but the deception. I thought you were ashamed of me, too old to fit in your life. Ryder's eyes filled. Never, Dad. I was protecting myself. And you, I guess. Jordan interjected gently. Mr. Thompson, Ryder talks about you all the time. You're his hero. Edward chuckled wryly. Hero? I was a lousy father sometimes. After your mom died, I shut down. Didn't know how to handle my own pain, let alone yours. The conversation delved deeper. Edward confessed his suppressed attractions. In Nam, there was a guy, Pete. We were close, but society. It wasn't an option. I chose the safe path. Ryder listened, stunned. His father, the epitome of Midwestern machismo, had carried the same burden. Why didn't you say anything? Edward shrugged. Fear. Same as you. This revelation bridged generations, turning resentment into understanding. But the romance between Ryder and Jordan faced its own trial. Jordan's admission of the flirtation lingered like a shadow. It was emails, nothing physical, he explained again. I was lonely during our break. Ryder paced. Betrayal isn't just physical. It's the trust. Edward mediated. Son, I've seen wars end with handshakes. Give him a chance. Inspired, Ryder forgave, but with boundaries. We need counseling. No more secrets. The day unfolded with activities to heal. Horseback riding through meadows, where laughter replaced tension. Edward rode steadily, reminiscing about ranch visits in his youth. Jordan shared stories of teaching queer history to kids, inspiring Edward. You're doing what I couldn't, living free. Ryder watched them bond, his heart swelling. This was the romance he dreamed of. Not just with Jordan, but reclaiming family. High drama struck during a hike to a waterfall. A sudden rain turned paths slippery. Edward slipped, twisting his ankle. Panic ensued. Ryder carrying him back, Jordan calling for help. At the lodge, a local doctor bandaged it. Nothing broken, she said, but the scare amplified emotions. Edward, vulnerable, admitted, I don't want to be alone anymore. If you'll have me, I'd like to move closer to you too. Ryder hugged him. Of course, Dad. Chicago's big enough. As evening fell, they gathered for a bonfire. Jordan played guitar, singing folk tunes. Ryder proposed again, properly this time, with Edward's blessing. Yes, Jordan whispered, slipping on the ring. Tears flowed, not of pain but release. Edward raised a toast. To love in all its forms, and to second chances. Yet, the story's depth lay in quieter moments. Ryder reflected on America's evolving landscape. From Stonewall to marriage equality, paths paved by bravery. His journey mirrored that, from hiding in Chicago's shadows to embracing love in Montana's light. Edward, too, found peace, regretting silenced years but grateful for this awakening. The night deepened with stargazing. Look at that sky, Edward marveled. Makes you feel small, but connected. Jordan held Ryder's hand openly, a simple act profound in its freedom. Conflicts resolved, but the narrative wove onward, toward a humane resolution. The final days at the ranch solidified their new beginning. Ryder, Jordan, and Edward explored Glacier National Park nearby, the majestic peaks a metaphor for overcome obstacles. Edward's ankle mended quickly, allowing gentle walks where he shared war stories. Not the horrors, but the bonds. Pete saved my life once, he said softly. I wonder where he is now. Ryder, inspired, promised to help search online back home. This gesture sealed their pact. No more isolation. Romance bloomed anew for Ryder and Jordan. Stolen kisses by the lake. Plans for a Chicago wedding with Edward walking Ryder down the aisle. We'll make it intimate, Jordan said. Friends, family, the real ones. Edward beamed. Count me in. And maybe invite some of my old buddies. Show 'em how times change. But a final twist tested their resolve. Back at the lodge, Ryder received a call from work. A major project deadline loomed, demanding his return. I can't leave now, he told Jordan. Edward overheard. Go if you must, son. We'll follow. Instead, Ryder delegated, prioritizing family, a shift from his workaholic past. On the drive home, reversed roles. Edward chatted animatedly, Jordan in the back navigating. They stopped in Minneapolis again, this time celebrating with a fancy dinner. Edward toasted. To my boys, you've taught an old dog new tricks. Laughter filled the air, mending old wounds. Arriving in Chicago, the surprise full circle. Ryder had arranged for Edward's house to be renovated. Accessible bathroom, no stairs, while they were away. You're not going anywhere, Dad. Stay with us. Edward, speechless at first, hugged them both. You sneaky bastard. He laughed through tears. The destination wasn't abandonment, but homecoming. Months later, the wedding unfolded in a rooftop garden overlooking Lake Michigan. Edward, dapper in a suit, gave a speech. I thought my son was sending me away, but he brought me closer, to him, to Jordan, to myself. Love wins, America. Guests cheered, a diverse crowd reflecting the nation's mosaic. Ryder and Jordan honeymooned in Hawaii, but the true humanity shone in everyday life. Edward moving into a granny flat behind their loft, joining pride parades, even reconnecting with Pete via social media. Their story became one of redemption, from betrayal's sting to forgiveness's balm. In the end, it wasn't a fairy tale, but real. Kitsched in conflicts, emotional in revelations, romantic in enduring love, humane in acceptance. Ryder, once hidden, now lived openly, his father's pride the greatest gift. America, with its flaws and freedoms, provided the canvas for their masterpiece.